So with currently 12 seasons in Overwatch, I think it's fair to say that some are better than others. But unlike other games like Fortnite, Overwatch seasons don't really change how the core game is played too much. It's more about just what they've added, which is important to keep in mind because in my opinion, I think Overwatch has just gradually gotten better. Unless you have a really broken meta, like the worst season in my opinion, season 8. And is this a surprise to literally anybody? Starting with what I think is the worst offender this whole season, and that's Maui. The Maui v Maui matchups that happened this season were just... it was so painful to get through some of these games, though it kind of reminds me of something else later in this list, but it's not as bad as this. Now, I don't play tank, but I think Maui is a relatively fun hero when he first came out. I like the idea of the cage ult. I think it's different enough because with so many movement abilities in the game, I think it's cool to have one that just kind of shuts them all down. And notice how I said at first, because playing him non-stop for like any problem just got so repetitive. Even if I wasn't playing Maui, it just got repetitive to constantly see him, and I still do. When someone loses, they just switch to Maui for the crutch. But besides that painful experience, I don't think the battle pass was that good. I mean, it definitely wasn't the worst, except this Lucio skin that doesn't fit with the theme at all. I actually love this. The mythic skin though was definitely the worst. I really don't think this Orisa skin is any good as a mythic. It's a good like legendary skin, but I don't think it's worth a mythic tier. And to briefly go over what else this season had, it had the Winter Wonderland event, which I think was actually pretty good. I liked the new style of event that they tried. There was a lot of free rewards. And then the new prop hunt map, that was also pretty good, but it's just kind of like another event. But the Battle of the Beast game mode though, oh my god. Once again though, respect to them for trying something new, but this was so bad. I don't know how anybody likes playing this. But for the Maui problems alone, this season definitely deserves last place. And next up we have season 5, which was the first season to not feature a new map or a new hero, which makes sense because the season after they added a lot of content. In the battle pass, all I can really say is I didn't really like any of the skins really. The Tracer skin was okay, but they tried something new with it. They tried the progressive style of mythic skin instead of just the select what you want, which I think is worse. But the main thing they added this season was 2 new game modes, one of which was the Winston Volleyball, which isn't the greatest, but once again they tried something new and I like that. But they redeemed themselves with Mischief and Magic. This prop hunt game mode is so fun and one of the best things they've added in a long time. I didn't really know where to rank this one, but I put season 11 here because it didn't add too much. It was another one of the seasons with no new hero, but it did add a new map, which was actually well needed because before then there was only 3 push maps, and Runasapi is the perfect addition, so I gotta give them credit there. And it did also add the Transformers collab, which didn't add much content because that was the start of collab events not giving free skins or anything really. But regardless, still pretty cool shop skins, so I'm definitely not hating on them. And with what I think is just another really bad mythic, I think that's about where the content for this season stops. The battle pass was also pretty just So besides Pink Mercy coming back, that's really about it. Now moving on to the season Lifeweaver's introduced, and that's season 4. And besides Lifeweaver, season 4 is known for the giant failure that is Star Watch. And this event is just known for being notoriously bad. The lore didn't really make any sense. Like, they thought it was going to be bigger. They even had like comics or something for it, which is just strange. And Lifeweaver was one of the most underwhelming heroes on release. He was really underpowered and was just a heal bot and had one of the weirdest mechanics that if he died, he would drop a pedal for an enemy or an ally to get healed by. And the roadmap is just a whole lot of nothing. Bob and Weave game mode was garbage. And then an unfinished Talantis map, and I guess the Symmetra skin was cool, but if it wasn't for Lifeweaver and the Sigma skin, this would be a lot lower, but the Sigma skin is still one of my top 3 favorite mythics. And there were some okay skins in the battle pass, but that's really it. And now we have season 7 Rise of Darkness, which brought the Roadhog rework, and I don't play Roadhog much, so I don't have an opinion on this really, but I think it was okay. I like the vape on a meter instead of a cooldown. And then the Sombra rework, which simplified her kit a lot, which I think is a good change. I just don't like the permanent invisibility. That's my only problem with it. And now this season was the first one to have 2 different collabs in it. The Diablo 4 one, also the Lee Seraphim, one of the most iconic collabs in the game, which both were actually pretty good. With the Diablo one having a co-op game mode, which was really different. I didn't expect something like that from Overwatch. And then the Lee Seraphim one had more of a straightforward kind of Overwatch type game mode. I'm glad both of these have game modes, which is something a lot of the current ones are missing. And they both gave free skins, which was also huge because they actually were pretty good. And this season didn't add a new hero, but it did add the Samoa map, which is honestly one of my favorite ones of all time. I really like how this map looks and plays. And of course you can't forget about the Halloween Terror event, which as always was pretty good. Fun game mode, I liked it. But the battle pass was pretty hit or miss for me. Some of the skins were really good and some of them were just but the mythic skin this season, I'm actually a fan of. I like this one a lot, but it just lacks in styles, so it can't really rank high for me on that list, but I still appreciate it. And now this season, which I think is only slightly better than season 7, and this was season 3, and this added one of the best mythics to this day. I think this Kiriko skin was so fire. And to not be controversial, I think Antarctic Peninsula is the worst control map, so I'm sorry to like the 3 people that actually like this. Now what I think is criminally underrated, they added a huge quality of life feature to this season, and that's the addition of being able to earn free credits. And now I know a lot of Overwatch 1 players don't really care about this because they have most of the skins they want or have a ton of credits already, but for new players this is actually huge because now you can actually get something out the battle pass. Like at Apex they have crafting medals to get whatever you want. So I think this was really important for the game because they added them in events like going forward. So I think this is a really good thing for them to add. And myself, I really only started playing in Overwatch 2. I really didn't feel like there was much reward to playing back then, but adding this definitely helped a lot. And including the credits for new players, I still think this is a really good battle pass. Now, something I was not expecting at all was Loverwatch. Blizzard surely knows their community, so they knew what they were cooking up with this, and oh my god, what an experience this was. I'm just so surprised they even added this to this day. It was truly peak degeneracy. But with it also started the trend of adding a new Valentine skin every year, and Cupid Hanzo, oh my god, mwah. I just want to give him a smooch back. This skin is perfect. And another huge surprise was the One Punch Man collab. At the time, I didn't expect much collabs from Overwatch, let alone an anime one, and with it being One Punch Man. But for their first major anime collab, they actually did pretty good. There was no game mode, but there hasn't really been for any of the anime collabs, but there was a lot of free rewards, which is always a good thing. Now, Season 10 is a really good season. They finally added a new DPS hero Venture, and I was really looking forward to a DPS hero, and I gotta say, I think Venture did the job well. They have really fun abilities, and also being able to boop just makes you so much better of a hero. But I wish that they played a little bit faster, like Doomfist or something. I know they're not a tank, but like, it feels a little slow and clunky at times. Now, I'll just go ahead and say it. I think this season had the best skins in all of Overwatch 2. They were absolutely cooking this season. And I didn't like this Mercy's mythic skin at first, but it grew on me a lot. This is one of my top 3 favorites now. But I still can't get over how good the skins this season were. They felt so much like Overwatch. I don't know how to explain it. And then of course they use these skins in the Mirror Watch game mode, which is also just kind of but it was a cool concept though, giving them different abilities. There was also a couple of minor things this season, like the Wrecking Ball rework, which wasn't as big as the Sombra Roadhog one, and I don't play Wrecking Ball, so I couldn't tell you if this is good or not. And then also they reworked the battle pass slightly to have 600 coins in it instead of the weekly challenges thing. And also we got our first look at the Clash game mode, which is pretty fun because it was a reworked version of Hanamura. But if I didn't think Venture was as fun as they are, then I would have this season a lot lower because I don't think just skins should carry a season this high, but Venture was a really good addition. And now the second season of Overwatch 2 ever. A lot of you may argue this should be higher, but this is still a really, really good season. We got a new hero, which is also a tank hero, and he is still relevant today. This is one of the more healthy additions to the game, I think. Ramattra is a really good hero to add to the game. Besides the whole power creep issue of him kind of being able to do it all, I think he's really fun and balanced, especially with what I mentioned earlier with the Emon clip. Yeah, being able to infinitely use the Ramattra ult was absolutely nuts, but they took it away shortly after though, which is why it's not really a problem. This is also one of the few seasons that added both a hero and a map, Shambali Monastery, and I think this map is pretty good actually. I've seen some bad things about it, but I think it's good. This is a pretty solid battle pass and mythic skin, nothing like too crazy, but this is still pretty good. But what is cool that I'm glad they finally added is the Junker Queen statue, because this thing took forever to get added. And now we have the most recent season, season 12, and people have been looking forward to Juno for almost a year now. And also the new game mode Clash with 2 new maps. That's already like a huge amount of content. I don't like this battle pass at all, but the Reaper mythic is my favorite mythic of all time. And this season also had a World of Warcraft collab which featured a really good Widowmaker skin and Reinhardt skin. And on top of all of that content, there was also a rank reset too, which really helped this season feel like fresh and new. And now we have season 9, and if you don't play ranked, this is probably a surprise to you, but the new rank system is just so much better than the last one. The last one was just a mystery. Like, you would gamble whether or not you would go up. Like, you would go 5-1 and you would not go up. You would stay the same. It was literally the dumbest system I've ever seen in any game. So seeing it get a proper rank system was huge for me. That was also the season that they shook up the meta a lot. That was when they gave everybody more HP. And I think that was healthy for the game now that we're here where we are, but it's just one of those things that helped the game feel so much more like fresh and exciting. This is also the season they gave everybody self-heal, which is just a really good quality of life change. Besides that, this is just another battle pass. The Moira skin is good though, I'll give them that. This Moira skin is really good. And of course, I can't forget about Cupid Hanzo's twin, Heartbreaker Reaper. I love this skin. Too bad though that they didn't come back with Loverwatch. Also, yet again, another anime collab, but this one is even more surprising because it's Cowboy Bebop, and this is a really old anime. But the Spike Cassidy skin and the Jet Mauga skin, oh my god, these are not it. This is like some of the worst collab skins, but it was still a good collab though. Huge W for giving a free skin. And just another weird PvE game mode. I don't know why they keep doing these, they're just so strange. Now moving on to what was supposed to be the future of Overwatch 2. Now I won't focus on what this should have been, but instead I'll focus on what it did add, because if I went on what it should have been, this would easily be at the bottom tier just for how much they failed with the PvE, but I do not want to get into that drama. So for how lackluster they are, I'm just going to pretend that they don't exist here. Like season 12 with Juno, this added a core game mode and a new hero, Alari and Flashpoint, but I had some mixed feelings for Flashpoint at first, but I've come to like it a lot. And Alari is a really good hero, new and exciting, except the fact that she's like a third DPS, but it's fine, she's fun. But Flashpoint is a really unique game mode since the maps are so huge, so I wonder how long it's actually going to take to get a new Flashpoint map, because it took forever to finally get a new push map. You still might be wondering how this ranks so highly. The most important thing I think this season added was player progression. This just gives you a sense of like accomplishing something, even if it's not as good as the Overwatch 1 system. I think just adding any type of progression helped the game a lot, because before then it felt kind of like dry, like you finished the battle pass, you had nothing else. Now you at least get to look at a number go up and a badge. And the Ana skin was on the weaker side of the spectrum too. I think this season was like the fully completed version of the Overwatch 2 PvP. So saying that, it would be the top of this list if it wasn't for season 1, which started it all. Arguably for the worst, arguably for the best. That's up to you to decide. Instead of focusing on that though, I'll focus on objectively what it added, and that is 5 new maps. Also introduced the push game mode and 3 new heroes, one for each role. And metas aside, these are all really good and fun heroes, so this is a huge W for the game. And of course, you can't forget one of the best battle passes, with one of the best mythics too, the Genji mythic. Oh my god, everybody loves the Cyber Demon Genji. And also what's considered one of the best Halloween events too. Oh my god, this season was great. And this is actually the season that got me back into playing Overwatch again as a Overwatch 2 player, like I said. But besides that, this is just when the game went crossplay, free to play, live service for a lot of frequent updates. Regardless if you like it or not, this is Overwatch's future and this started it all, so I think it's the perfect thing to end this list. Is what I would say, but future Speedy here, and season 13 just came out as I was editing this, and oh my god. Yeah, if it wasn't obvious enough, this would definitely be toward the bottom of the list toward season 5 and 8. But how do you ruin a character this bad? Like, Ramatra's whole hero identity is gone. And I guess they just randomly decided to change such a major part of his kit 2 years after he came out. And I'm not gonna lie, this is the part where I'd feel bad for Sombra mains for getting their character gutted too. But honestly, I'm glad I don't have to deal with Sombra anymore. I'm sorry. But still, ruining 2 characters and 1 update is nuts. But it's not all bad news though. This season did add some good quality of life changes, like the new interactive scoreboard, which I think is a really good change. And this seems to be another season that they were cooking with the skins. Also really fire. I like all of these. But you just gotta love the fact that they're giving Kiriko 4 skins this season. Now, I've seen some people have a problem with the Widowmaker mythic, and I don't play Widowmaker, but I think this is a fire skin. I get what they're coming from though. It doesn't look like a mythic, but I think with all the special effects on the hat and like the sparkles, I think it at least deserves a mythic rarity, unlike the Orisa mythic. And this one actually looks good. And the My Hero collab, I love this a lot. But come on, why did you have to stop the free anime skins here? Like, there's absolutely nothing. You get free sprays and a charm. Where is everything else? But with no new map or hero, the main content was reworking 4 maps, and I think these are all good changes. So nice job. And if you made it this far, I'm genuinely surprised because this is my first long form video. So if you enjoyed it, I would really appreciate it if you left a like. But until next time, just keep on gaming.